Had a great meeting in Austin on Saturday with a few friends. And for those of you that were privileged to be there, you know what happened. And for those of you that weren't, well, you missed it. That's all I can say. And it was kind of fun. We had a reporterette from a local blog or paper or whatever. She came because she wanted to see what we were up to. And she was very pleasant. We enjoyed having her there. And she pretty much agreed with most of the stuff that we came up with. So
You've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Live from Houston, Texas, a man who calls it like he sees it, without the normal political correctness you may have grown comfortable with. It's time for the Texas Perspective on current news and events. This show is not for the faint of heart or easily offended. Clear your desk, get your number 2 pencil ready. The Inquisition is about to begin.
Nobody respects the Spanish Inquisition.
If you have questions, please refer them to the chat room and make them good.
Go ahead, make my day.
The doctor is in, and he will see you now.
Well, I guess we better get on with it.
that being said, we already got somebody in on the Newsmaker line.
This is Wayne.
Wayne, okay, Wayne, welcome to the show, Wayne. I couldn't hear early on, so what are you bringing to the table?
Well, good afternoon, first of all, and it is a great day. I am bringing to the table, I tried to do this Friday, but I didn't have my stuff straight, so now I've got your number and all that. I don't know what happened with that, but I just let you know that myself and the rest of Texas Freedom Force, this is Texas Freedom Force, Brandon Burkhart and Ramon, and we had Greg Vital there as well. We all four showed up in support of HB 1238, which is Kyle Biederman's deal that he's trying to, get back in and get it passed. And I want to say that, first of all, it was relating to provisions governing the carrying of a firearm by a person who is not otherwise prohibited by the state or federal law from possessing the firearm, and to other provisions related to the carrying, possessing, transporting, and storing of a firearm. When we finally got to speak on this, which was very late, as you heard, they were really impressed with how many people were still there at that hour supporting these gun legislation bills that are hopefully going to be coming through in our favor. They had, of course, HB 1069, 1094, 1911, 1927, 2675, and 2900. All of those were bills that we support from other representatives. Because BLM was there in force, they did not hear our bills until late at night. I mean, after midnight. And we actually, you said I'd gotten there at 7. I actually got there at 9, but had to get up at 5, from Houston.
Well, no wonder you didn't get to testify till after midnight. You got to get there before 7 if you want to testify before 7.
I don't know about that, but hey, this is the rally point time that, that Brandon wanted to set. So,
okay.
But it's probably better. It's probably better that they went before we did. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
There were at the time we went to eat lunch, they had 88 more people to talk, and that was at 1:30, maybe 3 o'clock, I guess. It just rolled on and on and on. Of course, I'm sure you've seen it, but there was couple of people in there that decided to cut loose and act like their usual selves that they do, and God, it was people that were carrying were leaning up against the wall in case something happened. Let's put it that way. It was pretty bad. I was in an overflow room watching this, and I'm thinking, 5 minutes later, why is this allowed to keep going on? What is going on? Well, it so happens that one of the big BLM members was blocking the door, would not let DPS in the room, while the rest of the clowns in there were doing what they do best, raise hell and act crazy and threaten people and stuff like that. So
well,
we had to deal with
I
that.
want to know if DPS hauled that guy out and threw him in jail, you know, like they did to that cute little girl with the red boots when she was up there.
Well, I can tell you, I didn't see them take him out in cuffs or anything. I came out into the hallway to see what was happening, and I didn't see anybody get cuffed or arrested, but they did walk him out. Now, if that would have been somebody else, I'm sure they'd have smashed him to the ground, cuffed him, and drug him off to jail.
Because Amy Hedke, she committed a heinous crime. She was actually live streaming what was going on in there a couple years ago. And so DPS came in, grabbed her, cuffed her, and drug her out face down, boots dragging on the ground, took her downtown, threw her in a cell, or they stripped her naked and then threw her in a cell and left her there for 8 hours. So you're telling me this guy who was blocking DPS from getting into the room gets off with nothing?
Well, he was still yelling at the top of his lungs as they were escorting him out. I didn't see anything. I didn't see no cuffs come out. Of course, they're all carrying weapons with them. ARs, things like that. But if that would have been somebody else, I'm sure they would have been like Amy or worse. I'm sure.
I'm just pointing out the dichotomy and the way that certain people get treated in Austin.
Yeah, it's true. It's alive and well, that kind of stuff. But the stunningly gorgeous Emily Taylor was there speaking on some bills, and she's an independent program attorney with Texas U.S. Law Shield. Absolutely gorgeous. She was talking on a couple of bills that I was in there to see. She might have been speaking on others. Hopefully, she was successful in what she was doing. I got to meet your former guest, Steve Williford, was there and had a really good talk with him.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I hope you said hi to him for me.
I did. I told him where I saw him. I said, I know you from you were on the Doug Green show. We had a great conversation. He is a super nice guy.
A good guy with a gun. That's right.
Yes. And Open Carry Texas and GOA, of course, were there. And the bill, when we finally got to speak on HB 1238, there was all those other bills that I'd mentioned that had not come up yet. So, Brandon, we decided to leave at 1:30 in the morning because just couldn't hang in there any longer. We were concerned with the 1238.
He's got some physical ailments that make life difficult for him.
Yeah.
And when he starts getting really tired, it's a painful experience for him.
Yes. And we just decided that we already had voted on the little computers they have outside. Even though I think that those guys as well, they decided to speak on the bills too. It just got too late, but they're going to count them as what we voted for, which was in support of all these bills. So they'll get that on record. I have no idea how long it lasted, Doc. I don't know how long when they finally ended. I have no idea. It was very late. I got home at 4 a.m. Let's put it that way.
And once again, guys, the reason why we're having to do all this stuff, and thank you, Wayne, for putting out the way you did. The reason we're having to do this is we got this crazy radical idea that we should legalize the Second Amendment in Texas. And everybody's going berserk. What? Legalize the Second Amendment in Texas? Yeah.
But by the time I got to speak, everybody had covered everything I had to say. Let's put it that way. And I did reiterate what had already also been said, that you say quite a bit. An armed society is a polite society.
That's exactly it.
There's a lot of people that agree with that. I do want to cover a couple of other bills that were up for discussion as well while we were there, and these are the ones we voted against, which HB 127, and it's Representative Ortega's bill, and all she could talk about, it seemed, was the shooting in El Paso. She kept focusing in on that, talking about automatic weapons and these guns that look like they're supposed to be, automatic machine guns, and she got corrected pretty quick. And
But to clarify, that was a situation where an armed citizen would have made all the difference in the world.
yes, and a lot of people pointed that out too, and with due respect, they said. And everybody had just explained, an armor-light rifle is not an automatic weapon, has never been carried into war. Totally different thing than an M16. We had to, correct train of thought on that. So there's a lot of people that went against that one, and also HB 1039, which is relating to the duties of the Department of Public Safety, peace officers, officers of the court, and licensed firearm dealers with respect to the possession or use of a suspended, revoked, or expired license to carry a handgun, creating a criminal offense. We all voted against that one as well. So, but it was definitely a long day and night, and it messed my sleep schedule up for a little while. Let's put it that way.
Well, to be sure, but it was essential that you did what you did. And you may think, wow, 10 other guys said what I was going to say. Doesn't matter. The numbers matter. Wayne.
Representative White was very impressed, and I, if I'm not mistaken, I think he kind of alluded to the fact that he was going to be voting for it. So hopefully everybody else will on the committee. I don't know. There are Democrats and Republicans, which doesn't seem to matter too much sometimes. But hopefully they'll do the right thing. That's what I asked Representative White to do, and he said he was very impressed with our group, and we didn't go crazy like the BLMers did, and I know they appreciate that because they held us up for quite a while.
Well, I'm just glad you guys were able to do that, and
yeah,
I just I can't tell you how important this is. The problem that we're dealing with here is we shouldn't even have to be in this fight.
No.
The Second Amendment is very clear. It says shall not infringe. And if we have to accept homosexual marriage in Texas, I want to know why the Second Amendment isn't valid in Texas. And I think we all know that's because we have too many communists in the Republican Party in Texas. These guys that pretend to be conservative when in fact the only thing they're conserving is their paycheck. And you got to remember, these guys go up there and you say, well, they only get $600 a month. Well, that's true unless they manage to make it for 12 years. And if they last for 12 years, then they get something like $50,000 a year from then on for the rest of their lives.
That's sad.
So there's a big paycheck if you can manage to get reelected 3 times. So anyway.
Well, we've got now our next battle with This is Texas Freedom Force, as you know, is going to be the Cenotaph and the Alamo Plaza, which is heating back up, and should be some time this week that we make another trip down there. I'm just waiting to hear, but it's coming down the pike quick, and it's so far it's not good what I'm hearing. So we got another fight, a constant fight actually.
Well, it's the left never gives up. No. They never stop. It's an ongoing battle. We defeat them here, we defeat them there. They never stop. And of course, as we've seen in this recent fraudulent election, they've now reached the point where they don't even need the votes. They own us. They'll do whatever they want to do, roll right over us. So
we know what it's coming down to. We've all discussed it.
Yeah. So eventually things will be made right, hopefully sooner rather than later. But Wayne, once again, thank you for taking the time to go up to the Capitol. And I mean, you were representing a couple of 100,000 people, just you.
Yes. Well, yeah, I'm glad to do it. And it means a lot to me, as you know. So I wouldn't have thought about missing it. Let's put it that way.
Well, thank you for everything you did. I truly do appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on. We'll catch you later.
All right. So anyway, we got Wayne on there, and you guys know him. He's our resident herpetologist. Went up there to the Pink Palace, spent his entire day and most of the night. I guess he spent his entire day and all of the night to stand up for your rights and mine. So And there's Big Tom in the chat room. Good to see you. And Andrew, nice to see you. And DJ, he said, how did Victoria Jackson get away with that little ditty about there's a communist living in the White House? I don't know how she got away with it either. But this I can tell you. Hey, come back here. The redhead, everybody. Take that and take care of it. I'd appreciate it. So I don't know how she got away with it exactly. I personally, I thought Victoria Jackson was just amazing. And she was an incredible humorist and not an unattractive young woman. So anyway, I'm glad that she did that. I just wish some people had listened to her. And nobody was apparently listening to her. But the good news is, guys, mark it on your calendars, May the 31st, Memorial Day weekend. Me and about 9,000 of my closest friends are going to converge on the Pink Palace in Austin. And all of my Scottish friends, you're welcome to join us. I know you don't per se have a dog in this fight, but a horse in this race, but numbers are going to count. We want to show up at the Capitol and let them hear our voice, just like we did in D.C. The only difference is I think down here in Texas, they listen a little better than they do in D.C. So we want to show up. The objective is voter integrity. Right now, all of the bills that I've seen that are put forth up there are just a waste of time, smoke and mirrors that accomplish nothing. I haven't seen any legislation on voter integrity that's going to make a difference to anything for anybody. This is, once again, bureaucrats up there making lots of noise, pretending to be doing something for the people, when in fact they're actually doing nothing but spending money and wasting time. So we want to go up there and we want them to see us, and that's why we'd like to see about 10,000 people up there. And we're going to have, I think the band's going to play, and we're going to have a number of great speakers. We will have some good food to be served. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a party is what it is, but there's going to be a bunch of you. Yeah, Jim said, if I was there, I'd be with you 100%. I know you would, buddy. I know you would. And if you ever come, be sure to bring me some good Scottish whiskey, too. Would you do that? So we'd like to have that. But I'm seeing all kinds of stuff going on out there that greatly disturbs me. And it is time for us to stand up. Now, I had one young lady yesterday that accosted me via text and said, I don't believe in you anymore. You said you would do something in March. And I pointed out to her, I said, no, if you've been listening carefully, I said I would make a decision about what I was going to do in March. March came, and on March 5th, I made that decision. Now, I admire people that are willing to charge hell with a water pistol. I mean, their courage inspires me. But their stupidity amazes me. You could charge hell with a water pistol, but I guess you made a statement of sorts, but you didn't put the fire out. If you're going to solve a major problem like the one we have, this has to be done carefully with great planning. Now, the left was very careful to explode all of the patriots and get us all separated. They were very careful to, first of all, they said, well, because of the COVID, you can't meet at a restaurant and have a meal. Because of the COVID, you can't meet at a bar and have a drink. Because of the COVID, you can't have a group of people in your home that exceeds 10. Because of the COVID, they have utilized this. They have beaten that horse to death. And they did everything they could. And then Facebook and Twitter both stepped in and said, okay, anything that we see that might promote conservatism, that might help Donald Trump, or anything we see that might hurt the Democrat Party or stop the worldwide takeover of China, we are going to step in and make sure that those voices are silenced for a long period of time. So that's why all of us got 90-day suspensions before and after the election. And that's why even to this day on Facebook, I cannot post a meme, I cannot post a picture, and I cannot put in a statement longer than 10 words. As soon as I try to do that, or if my statement contains certain words, I immediately get blocked. I get a message. Let me see if I got that message here. I do have that message. I want to read it to you, what they tell me now. So, oh, by the way, I'm selling my beautiful blue real leather sofa. It's actually sectional. If anybody wants a real leather sofa and they can stand blue, this is for you. It's a pretty blue, actually. It's nice. All leather, all surfaces, not one of those bonded leather things. I'm still getting this up. I hope you guys are also enjoying some of the new memes that I got up over there. All right, I'm not finding it. It's taking me a while. I guess all I could do is just try to post something that would come up. So that's what I will do. I'm going to post this picture on here. This is a picture of the actual leather of my couch. I'm going to try to post that. Oh, well, they let me post that one. Maybe I was using the wrong ID. I think that's maybe could have been it. Maybe I was using the other identification badge that I use. So that could be a problem. So maybe I can get some of this stuff up now. So they silenced us to keep us from talking. They've done everything they could because they did not want another Green Dragon moment taking place in the United States right before all of this tyranny comes down upon us. They right now are trying to take away your means of self-defense. At the same time, they're admitting thousands of criminals across our southern border. At the same time, here in Houston, they're releasing murderers and rapists and robbers with no bond. And as you've seen at the Capitol, they'll allow the blammers to raise hell with no side effects. But if you're a conservative and you try to do anything meaningful, they will shut you down. The law is no longer in effect. And because the law is no longer in effect, you've got to consider what your choices are. Voting doesn't work.
Oh, I think they're looking for me.
And I have reached out. We're going to have General Don Bolduc here in a minute, but I've got to hit this break first. But right now, they've done everything they can to shut us down. Voting no longer works. They have stolen the vote. There's no possible way that there's ever going to be an honest election in America unless we adhere to the Doc Green plan, which is rag paper ballots, gold embossed serial numbers. Every ballot has to have a serial number. Voters must re-register to vote every 2 years without exception. And when they show up to re-register to vote, they must have a picture ID. To further ensure ballot integrity, a thumbprint at the bottom right-hand corner of every ballot. If the election is close or if it's contested in any way, then they will scan the thumbprints to make sure that that thumbprint only appears one time in an area. So this is how we solve these problems. This is how we get an honest election. And we go back to establishing election integrity. And yes, we could take elections down to a single day, but the truth is, if you've got serial numbered ballots and you only issue a given number of ballots based on the number of registered voters to a district, it doesn't really matter how much time you give them to vote, because if any ballot shows up that's not part of that serial number package, If any two ballots show up with the same thumbprint, you just throw them out. So this is how you get election integrity. But instead, they're wasting all of their time and money buying new voting machines, which will be connected to the internet. They're doing that here in Harris County, spending millions on this. They're not doing what needs to be done. Rag paper ballots, by the way, those ballots will look good in 10 years. They'll be in very good shape in 10 years. So that means you can always go back and recheck an election if there's ever any question at all. But just the fact you have serial numbered ballots with gold embossed serial numbers makes it virtually impossible for anyone to create a false ballot. So, and this cost almost nothing to do. Way cheaper than buying all these fancy voting machines. And then you can count these ballots by hand easily. You don't need any magnifying glasses. You don't need any special equipment. And if you're just lazy, you could buy optical character reading devices at any Office Depot, and any high school senior can write that program. It's that simple. So this is what we have to do, and I'm counting on every one of you in every state that you're at to call your state rep and propose the Doc Green ballot plan to them. And if they're crooked, they're not going to like it. And they'll come up with all kinds of excuses if they're crooked. But that's what I need you to do. Going to hit this break. Going to be right back on right side of the mic with General Don Bolduc. So stick around, guys.
Join us in the chat on YouTube and Facebook.
Doc says all the best words start with P. Prudence is a good word. Airlines will always say, put your own mask on first, then help your loved ones. Prudence means making sure that your family food supply is secure. Most stores have at best a 72-hour supply of food, and if something goes wrong, resupply will not happen quickly. You should have at least a 90-day supply of your favorites because it will allow you to weather the worst crisis and make plans for the future. The answer is newmanna.com. N-U-M-A-N-N-A. New Manna is not just food storage, but really tasty food that you will enjoy eating. New Manna food is designed to last for 25 years, but many people enjoy it several times a week. Now is the time to lay in a supply of tasty New Manna food for your family. Be prepared and know your family is safe. Go to newmanna.com right now for fast delivery. That's newmanna.com.
Hey, Barry the Music Man here for Tejas Smoke Depot. They have everything you need when it comes to smoke. Check out the 150 square foot walk-in humidor filled with a huge selection of fine cigars. Or give them a call at 830-990-1472 and order up what you want. Maybe you like to roll your own. They have it. Maybe you need a gift for a smoker in the family. How about a new pipe? They have a large selection, even a cross-section of great beers in stock. In a hurry, come by and use the drive-thru, located at 1639 West Highway 290 in Fredericksburg, Texas. Out of town? Visit them at the website, TejasSmokeDepot.com, or call 830-990-1472. That's 830-990-1472. It's smoking.
Hartman, the power of proven results.
One of the premier property management companies in Texas, providing below market rates with above market amenities and service. Hartman has owned and operated commercial office properties since 1983, offering premium office space at an affordable price by saving businesses a significant amount of money by keeping taxes, utilities, and maintenance low. With over 30 years in commercial leasing in Houston, San Antonio, and Dallas, we have learned exactly what our customers require.
Hartman, the power of proven results.
Managed on Christian principles with a strong dedication to community benevolence. Whether you need 1,000 or 10,000 square foot of office space, Hartman has that space in one of nearly 50 Texas locations.
Hartman, the power of proven results.
Energy efficient buildings, customer friendly experts, supporters of conservative causes. A Texas owned and operated business for 30 years. Teachers, a proud corporate sponsor of RagingElephantRadio.com.
Hartman, the power of proven results.
Visit Hartman online, hi-REIT.com. Call 800-880-2212 or click the ad on RagingElephantRadio.com.
Being a good corporate citizen, multi-million-dollar corporations should just be paying their school property taxes to educate the workforce they will want to hire. Learn more at chapter313.org. Your state rep and your state senator not to renew Chapter 313 of the Texas Property Tax Code. Find out who your rep and senator is at wrm.capital.texas.gov/home. What do you do if you've got gas? You call Russell Metzler at 281-798-8006. His company, GasProductServices.com, is your best choice. Whether it's inside or out, GasProductServices.com offers installation and repair of gas grills, gas lights, gas logs, fire bowls, fire pits, torches, and outdoor kitchens. If you're planning a new house, call Russell for design advice on indoor and outdoor gas products. He's a pro who can work with you and your architect. Maybe you're tired of dragging in firewood and cleaning out the ashes. Well, call Russell. He'll install beautiful gas logs. You have a fire pit or a fire bowl or some other gas device that doesn't work anymore? Call Russell at GasProductServices.com. He services the greater Houston metro area from Galveston to Conroe. And he also ships products nationwide. 281-798-8006. 281-798-8006. GasProductServices.com.
We interrupt this program with a special bulletin. America is now under martial law. All constitutional rights have been suspended. Stay in your homes. Do not attempt to contact loved ones, insurance agents, or attorneys. Shut up. Do not attempt to think, or depression may occur. Stay in your homes. Curfew is at 7 p.m. sharp after work. Anyone caught outside the gates of their subdivisions after curfew will be shot. Remain calm. Do not panic. Your neighborhood watch officer will be by to collect urine samples in the morning. Anyone interfering with the collection of urine samples will be shot. Houses will be inspected for trace elements at noon. Anyone failing to display the mandatory embossed black velvet Mexican-style painting of King George Bush II on their living room wall will be shot. Further protect private property against terrorist attacks. Cameras and surveillance equipment will be placed on all lampposts and streetlights. Anyone failing to attend morning school prayer and prescribed worship services on Sunday will be promptly arrested and dispatched to a re-education resort. Stay in your homes. Remain calm. The number one enemy of progress is questions. National security is more important than individual rights. Under the provisions of the War on Drugs, Zero Tolerance, and the Child Protection and Obscenity Enforcement Act, all property and life savings of suspected drug users and suspected pornographers will be seized and sold prior to trial. Anyone opposing this policy will be presumed to be under the influence of drugs and shipped immediately to boot camp to serve a sentence of hard labor beneath an inflatable statue of Nancy Reagan being humped by Samuel Alito. Sports broadcasts will proceed as scheduled. No more than 2 people may gather anywhere without permission. Use only the drugs prescribed by your coach, your boss, or your supervisor. Shut up. Be happy. Obey all orders without question. Shut up. The comfort you've demanded is now mandatory. At last, everything is done for you.
And I know that's right. Let's see if we got General Bulldog here. I'm looking here. I don't know if we got video on you or not, General, do we?
I'm right here, Doc, and I think you're going to catch me right now.
All right, there we are. Now I can bring you in here, and I'll go ahead and pin you for everybody else here. And there we are. We got you on there. All right, General, welcome to the show. Now, we're going to talk about some stuff, but I should mention you're running for the U.S. Senate. You want to go up against Maggie Hassan in 2022. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. So all of you New Hampshire listeners out there, this is your guy. But
that's correct.
You may have heard me mention. You may have heard me mention earlier, though, with the voter integrity issue, I don't see any way to get a Republican elected unless they have paid their dues to the left.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And I heard your whole, requirements, and I agree 100% with everything that you're saying. The only way that we're going to get this back on track is to implement the ideas that you articulated.
So let's see. Frank said I need lower volume. I don't know. You sound pretty good to me. He'll clarify that in a minute.
Okay.
So, yeah, if we don't get voter integrity, and the only way I can see that, General, anything that is done electronically, and I had some guys discuss with me this weekend, no, blockchain voting, blockchain. Look, I understand that's a pretty secure way of doing things, but it's still a computer. Anytime you do anything on a computer, a clever computer programmer can subvert it. It's just the way that it is. Anybody can insert that code in there.
You're right. Electronic voting is susceptible to, all kinds of fraud, internally, externally, manipulation by foreign countries. It's not the way to go. We should not do it. It doesn't work. We know this in other countries that we run elections in, and in many cases we don't allow it because if they have electronic elections and they don't have voter IDs or a way to be able to determine each voter's identity, then we can't give them any help.
That's
why
the
doesn't
truth.
that standard apply here in the United States by the same people that are requiring that standard, Congress, on other countries in order to get our aid? So makes no sense to me. Double standard.
Well, I don't see any other way to fix this except for going to, as I mentioned, paper ballots, and I like them printed on rag paper, because if we print the paper ballots on rag paper, then that's something that's not readily available to the average person on the street, so they just can't stick it in a printer and copy some ballots. And then the gold embossed serial number. If you know exactly how many registered voters you have in an area and you issue that many ballots and they're all serial numbered, this completely eliminates the ability of scammers to just insert ballots into the system, General.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree. I am, in 100% agreement with you. And New Hampshire had its share and has had its share of voter fraud. And I'm very concerned about it with this election cycle coming up in 2022, as I was in 2020. And but we have a governor and we have an attorney general that are less concerned about it. And we're trying to get them to be more concerned, trying to get our legislature to do, a couple of things. One, no first day, no voter day registration or same day registration, mandatory voter IDs, if you don't live in the state as a, if you're not a resident of that state as a college student, you can't vote. You can't vote, period. End of discussion. But we allow all those things. And the Democrats have, and others have, characterized it as, well, it's voter suppression, right? Which it's not. It's just guaranteeing election integrity and buying down fraud, which is hugely important.
Well, it suppresses the illegal vote.
Yes. Yes.
And they don't want the illegal vote suppressed, General.
That's exactly right. It suppresses the illegal vote. And unfortunately, up in New Hampshire, I wish I had proof, right? I mean, I wish I had honest to God proof, but I just think that there are too many people manipulating it on both sides of the aisle, which is unfortunate, right? And that's got to stop. And we gotta check both sides of that aisle with the politicians up in New Hampshire. And I know other states are struggling with the same issues.
Well, let's see. I don't know, Frank. I just seen Donna. She said sound is bad, and I'm not quite sure what. So let's try this. Let's see if this will improve things. And because I don't want to lose Donna down there in Florida, and I don't think she's going to be voting in New Hampshire. But nonetheless, we want as many people to hear you as possible.
Right.
So let's see if that is better. Let me know, Donna, if that's better for you. And all right, now, some of the things that you would like to see done. The reason you're running for Senate, I mean, what are some of the major reasons that you want to run for Senate? I mean, we've got a lot of issues out there. For me, of course, I'm a big Second Amendment guy because I believe once you lose the Second Amendment, which we have lost it no longer exists, then the rest of them are all going away. Now they're calling those of us that showed up in Washington, D.C. on January the 6th, we're traitors and terrorists. But yet at one point in time, what we did on January the 6th was considered a God-given right under the First Amendment, the right to seek redress from government. So what's burning on your mind, General Don Bolduc, excuse me.
Well, first of all, Doc, you make good points, right? We got to protect our Constitution. One of the big reasons I supported President Trump was because I knew that my Declaration of Independence and my Constitution would be safe with him. It is not safe right now. It is under attack. And so you know as well as I do, they have their way, the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, the Electoral College, all these things are going to go away. The American New Way Forward ideas that they have, global government ideas that they have, all these things are going to be used to replace our republic and undermine the democratic principles that drive our, this great nation. So that, of course, being a conservative, being a constitutional conservative, being somebody like yourself who served this country and defended it means more to me than anything else. But aside from that, economic prosperity, fiscal responsibility, and the safety and security of Americans are hugely important to me. And I believe that career politicians are the bane of our existence, and they're the ones that are undermining all of this. And we need to get them out. Hands down, career politicians and statesmen. We need statesmen in the United States Senate, not politicians. Politicians care about themselves. Statesmen care about doing business for their country and for the men and women in our country. Politicians don't, and that's huge. We have a huge, big tech problem that needs to be brought under control, and we have a huge problem with the national media and corporations owning the media and the lack of balance and fairness, and that is creating fear, uncertainty, and dependence. It is enabling people to construct a top-down government structure as opposed to a bottom-up government structure. And we need people in there that are going to fight against that, right? And bring us back to our shared values. There used to be a day that economic prosperity was a shared value. Fiscal responsibility was shared values. Safety and security of Americans were shared values. The education of our system, of our children, were shared values. The God, family, community were shared values. Right now, career politicians are separated. They're on both ends of the spectrum, and they can't get anything done. And we have to start replacing them. And as long as we continue to invest in career politicians, in family legacy names, and people that don't have the national security experience to go serve in the United States Senate, then we're just going to continue to have the same problems, and it's going to get worse, and we're going to be the ones that suffer from it. And that's why I'm running. I'm running because I love America. I love the Granite State. I am down here in San Antonio now doing some fundraising and doing some campaign work, because you got to do campaign work as a senator inside and outside your state. So here I am.
Well, you're reaching a lot of states now, General, because in fact you're reaching a lot of countries now.
Right.
We've got an international audience. Now, Chris Sununu is talking about running also, but my opinion of Chris Sununu is he is a globalist, a rhino, if you will. Can you dissuade me from that argument? Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. He didn't support President Trump, and he will never support President Trump. He is pro-choice. He gives money to Planned Parenthood, state taxpayer dollars, which is a no-go. No taxpayer dollars should ever go to Planned Parenthood. He took a raise, a $31,000 raise in the middle of the economic crisis. I lost.
Well, being governor is an expensive business, General.
Well, yeah, I guess it is. When you got I don't know. All I know is you're a leader. You don't pass 84 executive orders and emergency orders and put hardships on small businesses, prevent children from going to school, prevent people from going to worship, interfere with your people's constitutional rights, and then don't follow the very orders that you put in place and take a raise when other people are losing their jobs and getting their pay reduced. And you got to be in it with the people that you're leading, and he's not, and that's just plain and simple. He's told me on a number of occasions he's not running, but he dangles it out there, right? I don't like that. That's career politicianism. I declared 8 days after the general election, and I'm in it for what I believe to be the right reasons, and none of them are political. They all have to do with serving my country again in a different capacity and doing the right thing by the people of New Hampshire, telling the truth. I don't care about politics. Politics don't matter to me. I'm going there for 2 terms if I have the honor to do that, and no more. I believe in term limits. I believe in the Cincinnatus principle. I believe that power and money has taken over, and it is more influential in the political system than character and integrity. I get told all the time that, hey, sometimes you have to, compromise your values. Never. I will not do that. I will never compromise my values. We have too much of that going on today.
Well, let me ask you a question about your funding, because first of all, we do have a website if you guys want more info. It's Don Bolduc, that's BOLDUC.com, donbolduc.com, and there's you got a donate thing. That goes to Win Red. How much of that money actually gets to you, and how much of it ends up in the hands of rhinos, General?
Well, there's a percentage of that taken off for the management of the website, right? But after that, everything goes to, goes to me. So that's not going to, anybody else but me. That's why I prefer to give people, on that website, you will see an address, P.O. Box for New Hampshire, for people to mail things in. And we got some pretty clever things going on out there. Mail in $6.03, and to keep area code 202 out of your business. $20.22 to beat, Maggie Hassan in 2022. And we did a pretty decent job raising money last time, with everything considered and all the interference that we had. I outraised my primary opponent 3-1. He stayed in the race because he was a multimillionaire and could afford to. But we raised over $1 million. My goal is 2.4 for the primary this time. It was 1.2 last time, so I want to double it. We hit it last time. We're going to hit it again this time. And I know that we'll get plenty of help from the NRSE and the RNC and everybody else when election time comes. And I know that I can beat Maggie Hassan because I am the real conservative, and that's what people want. They want a real conservative in this, and somebody that they know they can trust that's going to go down there and do exactly what he says he's going to do. And that is serve the people. I'm not I'm not in the shallow end of the pool like a political, like a career politician looking for the next shiny thing. I'm in the deep end of the pool, treading water with you. I got 9 people that live in my house. Both my sons lost their job. My grandchildren are living there. They can't go to school. They're behind in school now. We do our worship in our home and stuff like that, but even that's been interfered with. We have a mask mandate. We have all these controls over us by one person, and that's the governor. And if he thinks like that as governor, what do you think? How do you think he's going to think when he goes down to Washington, D.C.?
Well, I wouldn't vote for a Sununu to save my life. I just wouldn't do it. And
the other thing is, he has no national security experience. I do. I have national security experience. I've worked on let's just take the border. I've worked on the border. I've been out there in the heat from Texas to California. And I've done it as a young officer. And I worked at the highest levels of the Pentagon on border security. I've helped other countries with border security. I've worked on refugee issues on borders all over the world. I have done it. I know what right looks like.
Yeah.
I know what right looks like when it comes to dealing with China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran, and everything. I've sat across the table from them. I've looked at a communist Chinese party member, right in the eye. We've been coffee breath close. So, I know how to stand strong. I also know how to get things done in many, many kinds of environments that Maggie Hassan, with 5 years of Senate experience, has demonstrated she can't get anything done. And Chris Sununu doesn't have. He went to MIT, he walked the Appalachian Trail, and
well, there's a couple of good qualifications.
yeah, and he managed his family's ski resort, right, in Waterville Valley, and then now he's governor, right, and now he thinks he may want to be senator on what qualifications? Legacy political name, all that national security experience he has.
No, all of that above. But you also mentioned you've done it in a wide variety of environments. Some of you guys may have saw the movie in Afghanistan where they had the cavalry, literally for the first time in decades. The Army was on horseback, and General Bolduc was one of those guys out there leading a group of horse soldiers in fighting ISIS over there in Afghanistan. So. And I forget the name of the movie. It was a good movie, though. I really enjoyed it.
Well, the movie was 12 Strong. It focused on the teams in the North. I was down in the South. I always like to stipulate that. So the movie focused on the guys in the North. We were down in the South. I was with...
the guys in the North always get all the attention, though. They never pay any attention to us guys in the South.
I was on the ground. Everybody might know Chris Miller, the acting Secretary of Defense that President Trump put in place before, just before the election. Chris Miller and I were on the ground together. We were, went to SF training together, went through all that. We're in 5th group together. And so, he was down there with me as well. So, I mean, this is just, it's about experience. It's about getting the right people down there. I was asked this morning on a radio show, well, people think that, you don't agree with Sununu's, COVID policies because there's a potential you might run against him. And I go, that's not the case at all. I said, first of all, I'm running not because it's my idea. After the primary election that I lost last go around, I was not going to run. And I made a, definitive comment publicly on that. But hundreds of letters, hundreds of emails, texts, messages on Facebook, what have you, came in asking me to run. So I'm running because I was asked. I was asked last time. I'm being asked this time.
Well, you were very close to winning last time. I should point that out. And if we could but what are we going to do about the voter integrity issue? Because if we don't fix that problem, and we've got to fix it before 2022. What is being done in your state to solve that problem?
Right now, I don't see anything being done by the election committees of any substance. I want to see bills come across either on the Senate side or the House side that deal with requiring voter ID, fixing the loopholes in college student voting, getting rid of same-day registration, and rescinding House Bill 1266, which expanded mail-in voting, which created more opportunity for fraud, and going to a complete hand count ballot system and getting rid of those AccuVote and Diebold systems that we have in there that are completely
corrupt.
Corrupt. You're right.
Well, they need to be thrown out, absolutely, because anything that even touches the internet, anything that has anything to do with Diebold, anything that has anything to do with Dominion, anything that has anything to do with Votomatic. That's not the name of it. I forget what the name actually is, but anything that all needs to be thrown out, and that's why my suggestion was to go with the rag paper ballots, golden box serial numbers. These are easily read with the naked eye. You don't need any special equipment. You don't have to attach it to the internet. And you've not only got an accurate count out of the box, but the other thing is, if you got to go back and recount those in 2 years, well, they're all still there, just as good. Serial numbers are in order, just as easy to find it. So do you have anybody in the State House you can work with on getting something like this put through?
Yeah, we're working with Senator Bob Guida, who's a great American, a Marine Corps veteran, just a great guy. He is working very, very hard to fix the voting issues in the state of New Hampshire. And he's he's been in the Senate for quite a few years now. And I am confident that working through with and by him, we're going to make some progress. But we have a short, legislative cycle window to get this stuff done in.
Well, I hope you'll pass on my ideas for ballot security because, as some people have said already in my own legislature, that's so simple. It makes so much sense. They'll never go for it.
Well, we've abandoned critical thinking. We've abandoned common sense. These things that used to be, very high premium in our country are now gone. We don't think critically about anything. We're sheeple and lemmings. Most of the time, people are just following, going, burying their heads in the sand, hoping that when they pick their head up, everything will be okay. And that's just not the way it works.
It never is.
Back to work.
That's why alcoholics never get their life fixed. They think, well, I'm going to go get drunk, and when I sober up, it'll be better. But it's always worse.
It's always worse. You're right. It's always worse. And I would be remiss. I don't want to run out of time here and not give you and Vietnam veterans the recognition that they deserve. This is the National Day. I have put out many messages on this today. Welcome home. You guys, the reason combat veterans in my generation were taken care of is because the Vietnam veterans made sure that nobody that served their country during wartime or served their country, period, would come home and be treated with the disrespect they were treated with.
Well,
and I
thank
want to
you.
thank you for that.
Because back in my day, they told us don't wear your uniform downtown.
Yes. And I wear my uniform as much as I possibly can, right? Because it's important to do so. And you set the groundwork for that. And I really want to thank you and Vietnam veterans and their families and give everybody a welcome home, because you didn't get it when you deserved it and needed it.
Well, thank you very much. And of course, a lot of good things have happened for soldiers since then. Now they actually get paid enough money to make a living.
That's right.
When I was in, I qualified for food stamps. So it was tough in those days. That's why I started my band. I needed the money. I was trying to put food on the table.
That's right.
So anyway, well, General Bolduc, you got our support here. New Hampshire Senate candidate 2022. I put the website there in the chat, and it is donbolduc.com. And that's BOLDUC.com. He's a good man. It cost a lot of money to run for the Senate. But I hope you're going to press this thing hard, because we've got to fix the voting system in America. Texas, we're trying to fix it here. It's got to get fixed where you are. If we don't have this fixed by 2022, I just suggest you abandon all hope. And then there's only one thing left. So, and nobody really wants to go there, but that may be where we end up going. So anyway, General, appreciate you staying in touch with the show. Give my best to Sandy for making this happen. And I understand you're here in Texas right now.
I am. I'm in San Antonio. I'm doing work here in San Antonio. So I'm glad to be here. Where I'm enjoying my stay. I leave Wednesday morning, and doing some campaign work. And I'm sure, very grateful to be on your show, and I want to extend my best to all your listeners.
Well, be sure you get by the Alamo and get a selfie down there.
Yes, I will do that.
Or maybe you got some staff that'll shoot the photo for you. I don't know. But, be sure you get your picture at the Alamo.
Me and my wife down here.
All right. There you go. Thank God for wives.
That's right.
We saved the Alamo while you were gone. George P. Bush was trying to destroy it. And that's the son of the former Florida governor, Jeb Bush. And George P. Bush married a Mexican national, so he hated the fact that the Alamo was the central theme. The Battle of 1836 was the central theme of the Alamo. So he wanted to take down the cenotaph, which is that beautiful 80-foot marble structure memorializing all the defenders of the Alamo. He wanted to take that down, get it out of the way, and recreate, what do they call it? Re-envision the Alamo. But me and my friends with This is Texas Freedom Force and also the Daughters of the Republic, we stopped it. We stopped it. We beat him into submission, and he will not be reelected, thank God. So just wanted to let you know somebody's still fighting the battle of the Alamo. Yeah, well, God bless you, and thank you. Thank you for doing that. There's just too much of that trying to erase history and re-envision it. Yes. And, we can't do that either. Got to have our history. As Jorge Santillana so famously said, those who refuse to remember their history are doomed to repeat it. And we cannot let that happen. General Don Bolduc, you guys go to his website, donbolduc.com, and he needs a little bit of money. Yeah, if we want to get rid of Sununu, well, you gotta help Don Bolduc there do his part. And maybe we can get rid of Sununu too, but we sure don't want him running for the Senate and winning. There are more of us than there are elitists. So we got to band together and move forward. And you came very close to winning last time. I think you can do it this time. I can, and I'm gonna. Thank you. All right, we're going to be right back on Right Side of the Mic. Enjoy the slideshow in the interim and support my advertisers, because God knows I need the money. Be right back.
Join us in the chat on YouTube and Facebook.
What do you do if you've got gas? You call Russell Metzler at 281-798-8006. His company, GasProductServices.com, is your best choice. Whether it's inside or out, GasProductServices.com offers installation and repair of gas grills, gas lights, gas logs, fire bowls, fire pits, torches, and outdoor kitchens. If you're planning a new house, call Russell for design advice on indoor and outdoor gas products. He's a pro who can work with you and your architect. Maybe you're tired of dragging in firewood and cleaning out the ashes. Well, call Russell. He'll install beautiful gas logs. You have a fire pit or a fire bowl or some other gas device that doesn't work anymore? Call Russell at GasProductServices.com. He services the greater Houston metro area from Galveston to Conroe. And he also ships products nationwide. 281-798-8006. 281-798-8006. GasProductServices.com.
Hey, Barry, the new
Radio.com.
Hartman, the power of proven results.
Visit Hartman online, hi-reat.com. Call 800-880-2212 or click the ad on RagingElePhantsRadio.com.
Being a good corporate citizen, multi-million-dollar corporations should just be paying their school property taxes to educate the workforce they will want to hire. Learn more at chapter313.org. That your state rep and your state senator not to renew Chapter 313 of the Texas Property Tax Code. Find out who your rep and senator is at wrm.capital.texas.gov/home.
Secondly, we're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
I defend my kids. Selfdefensefund.com.
I defend my family.
Selfdefensefund.com.
I defend my country.
Selfdefensefund.com.
I defend my workplace.
Selfdefensefund.com.
I defend my animals.
Selfdefensefund.com.
I defend my sister.
Selfdefensefund.com. No one ever hopes to have to use their weapon in self-defense. But if you do, be protected. Your family, your business, your loved ones are counting on you. Selfdefensefund.com.
Doc says all the best words start with P. Prudence is a good word. Airlines will always say, put your own mask on first, then help your loved ones. Prudence means making sure that your family food supply is secure. Most stores have at best a 72-hour supply of food, and if something goes wrong, resupply will not happen quickly. You should have at least a 90-day supply of your favorites because it will allow you to weather the worst crisis and make plans for the future. The answer is newmana.com. Numanna. New Manna is not just food storage, but really tasty food that you will enjoy eating. New Manna food is designed to last for 25 years, but many people enjoy it several times a week. Now is the time to lay in a supply of tasty New Manna food for your family. Be prepared and know your family is safe. Go to newmanna.com right now for fast delivery. That's newmanna.com.
Please return to the Doc Green Show. This is Marvin the Martian. When you miss it, you make me very, very angry.
Oh, yeah, you like that Spanish Jedi planking right there? For those of you that are watching on TV, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not watching on TV, well, you're missing the whole deal. So I'd encourage you to get over there and find it. And you can find it at avrn.tv. avrn.tv. And occasionally writeamericamedia.com. Haven't quite figured out the schedule over there yet. I know I'm on at least 3 days a week, but I don't know exactly which days those are. Let's see if we're on today, because I'm on channel 2 over there usually. And yep, we're not live today on Right America Media, so I don't know what that is. But on channel 2, you can get the Doc Green Show at a running replay. My shows are so good, it's okay to watch a replay. So check it out. That being said, they're now talking about requiring a COVID vaccine passport. That's right. They want to force you to get a COVID vaccine. Now, it has been long upheld by the Supreme Court, the right to travel. That's the reason why certain people I know do not have a driver's license, because they have taken it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court clearly said everyone has the right to travel, and you don't have to have a license to do so. As long as you're not driving a commercial vehicle, you are not required to have a driver's license. And so I know a lot of people that don't have, well, not a lot of people, but I know a few people that don't have driver's licenses because they view themselves as sovereign citizens and they realize they do not need to have a driver's license. They also don't register their cars for the same reason. They pay cash for the cars. They never registered the car. They don't see a need to do that. So since we know the Supreme Court has upheld this multiple times, it's clear. But the Harris Biden administration is planning to restrict travel abilities and, among other freedoms, should you choose not to get the coronavirus vaccine. Even though it's not FDA approved yet, Biden's team is trying to make the vaccine mandatory by making it necessary that you present documentation of your vaccination should you try to get on an airplane, or should you try to go into a corporate business, or in some cases, depending on who you work for, should you try to go to work. Vaccine passports are going to become mandatory for travel in the European Union, the Communist European Union. And the Biden administration is working toward developing a plan that will require your vaccine documentation to travel anywhere. Now, if you're skeptical about this newly developed vaccine, you will either be alienated from the population, that is canceled, or you'll be denied freedom of movement, even though, according to the Constitution, your God-given right is to travel wherever you'd want to travel, whenever you want to go. You'd have to have this official documentation to get a job. You'd have to have the official documentation to put your child in public school, though why would anyone put their child in public school? It's beyond me. So now there are already logistical issues that are being posed because fake vaccine passports have already surfaced, because in the European Union you have to have them. Now, America's frontline doctors, two of whom I was with last Saturday in Sugar Land, have condemned this plan. Additionally, they stress the low rate of COVID transmission on airline flights, for instance, and argue that these passports are completely unnecessary. And of course, my thought is, since when have we ever forced healthy people to prove that they are healthy? But we also know that the Biden-Harris administration is working on a mark of some kind. As they stated it, there has to be a simple and easy way to immediately know if someone has been vaccinated. So they're working on what sort of mark might be acceptable and easy enough to do, easy enough to get, and easy enough to have, yet difficult to counterfeit, so that these people can be marked among us. Now, you see, they have no problems with counterfeit ballots. They have no problems with illegals voting, but they do have a real problem with counterfeit marks. People that have the mark of being vaccinated but have not actually been vaccinated. This worries them greatly. And they're saying that eventually where they want to go is if you don't have this mark, perhaps on your forehead or on your right hand, then you would not be able to travel. You would not be able to work. You would not be able to even buy product. You would not be able to sell product unless you have this mark. And this is all because of the COVID. Now, I got to tell you, there are certain things I like about the COVID. The first thing I like about the COVID is traffic going in and out of town is greatly reduced here in the Houston area from what it used to be. And trips that I used to have to verify that I had a full hour to make, now I can make most of those trips in 30 minutes. I kind of like that. The other thing I like about the COVID is now it doesn't matter what personal failing I may have. All I got to do is tell whoever else involved it's because of the COVID. You don't have to explain how it's because of the COVID. Just say because of the COVID. It's automatically acceptable, no matter what it is. I've got clients right now because I also operate a home electronics business. I've got clients right now that are waiting for product. And legitimately, some of it is because of the COVID. I guess a lot of factories were shut down because of the COVID. And in one particular case, there's a certain type of chip that's only made in Japan, and the factory burned down because of the COVID. So we're waiting on product to show up because of the COVID. I'm sick of it. But anyway, that is life. Now, and I'm just telling you because you guys are my friends. And I just want you to know that anytime anything goes wrong, you're late getting to a meeting, you're late getting home from work, you're late for your spouse's anniversary because of the COVID. You turn in the wrong figures on a report because of the COVID. It works. Meanwhile, the Ever Given continues to give. Yeah, the Ever Given. This is a freaking huge ship. This thing is 1/4 mile long. And I guess it was going a little too fast through the Suez Canal, and it got its radome stuck in the sand, and then it swung sideways and blocked the entire canal for days. Well, I'm told that it's now free. They have finally gotten it out of the way, and all of those hundreds of ships that have been parked in the bay waiting for this thing to get out of the way are now free to move. So, 6 days of shipping, nothing has happened. So now I guess the other thing is you could say, yeah, because of the Suez Canal, because of the COVID. That can't be right. Oh, because of the Suez Canal. Yeah, the product I was waiting on is on the boat. Or the product I was waiting on was behind the boat and couldn't get through. Product I was waiting on had to go around the Cape. Because of the COVID. This 220,000 ton ship, quarter of a mile long, operated by Taiwan-based Evergreen Marine, was going from China to the Netherlands. That's because everything is made in China and nothing is made in the Netherlands. I guess they make some wooden shoes, but that's about it. Speculation began emerging that the blockage could have been intentional, though no evidence has been brought forward to support this theory. Now, see, I'm a conspiracy theorist. That thought has occurred to me many times. What if somebody felt the need to just stop the whole thing, to constipate the world? Well, apparently they finally got the right laxative. But considering the cost of the world economy blocking the Suez Canal has caused, this news is good for all of us. It also shows you the fragility of the global economy built on the idea of just-in-time shipping. Here's the deal. I also had a job that I worked on this morning. I need some small, relatively insignificant parts compared to the whole. Now, I live in the fourth largest city in the United States. Some people would say third largest if you count the illegal aliens. I live in the third or fourth largest city in the United States. You would think in this city you could get absolutely anything you need. And the product I'm looking for is not made in Japan. It's made in the United States. There are not many electronic products made here, but this one is special enough it is. Nobody in Houston stocks that product. Excuse me. Nobody stocks it. Has to come out of New York. Just in time. They don't stock it because they know I can get it here in 2 or 3 days if I don't mind paying the shipping. But this is the crazy world we live in. So what do you suppose? You know, I've got a book idea that I've been, toying with my mind. And it was based on a traffic jam. The Suez Canal reminds me of this. And this entire book is based on the traffic jam. And in this particular case, you've got a famous worldwide assassin who has never failed. But in this particular case, he is stuck in the traffic jam. And so he's going to miss the assassination that he's supposed to perform because he's stuck in the traffic jam. He's never failed in a traffic jam. There's another guy in the traffic jam. He's been working on getting his marital life back together. And he finally convinced his wife that he's a really good guy and he's going to fix it. And his wife said, okay, well, if you're here at the depot by 4 o'clock, I will reconcile with you. He's stuck in the traffic jam. He can't get there. There's another guy in the traffic jam. He has been promised the job of a lifetime, but he's got to be there by 4 o'clock, or they're going to give it to somebody else. He's stuck in the traffic jam. A lot of us don't even think about all of the stuff that goes wrong in life because you were stuck in a traffic jam. What is the real cost of something like this? Now, yeah, there's probably an upside too. The upside in this particular story that I have not written yet, it's only in my mind, the guy that was going to be assassinated lives. So that was the upside. But the downside, all these other things. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is that a good idea for a book or not? I don't know. I'm going to hit this break. We're going to be right back on right side of the mic.
Join us in the chat on YouTube and Facebook.
Hey, Barry the Music Man here for Tejas Smoke Depot. They have everything you need when it comes to smoke. Check out the 150 square foot walk-in humidor filled with a huge selection of fine cigars. Or give them a call at 830-990-1472 and order up what you want. Maybe you like to roll your own. They have it. Maybe you need a gift for a smoker in the family. How about a new pipe? They have a large selection, even a cross-section of great beers in stock. In a hurry, come by and use the drive-thru, located at 1639 West Highway 290 in Fredericksburg, Texas. Out of town? Visit them at the website, TejasSmokeDepot.com, or call 830-990-1472. That's 830-990-1472. It's smoking.
Hartman, the power of proven results.
One of the premier property management companies in Texas, providing below market rates with above market amenities and service. Hartman has owned and operated commercial office properties since 1983, offering premium office space at an affordable price by saving businesses a significant amount of money by keeping taxes, utilities, and maintenance low. With over 30 years in commercial leasing in Houston, San Antonio, and Dallas, we have learned exactly what our customers require.
Hartman, the power of proven results.
Managed on Christian principles with a strong dedication to community benevolence. Whether you need 1,000 or 10,000 square foot of office space, Hartman has that space in one of nearly 50 Texas locations.
Hartman, the power of proven results.
Energy efficient buildings, customer friendly experts, supporters of conservative causes. A Texas owned and operated business for 30 years. A proud corporate sponsor of RagingElephantRadio.com.
Hartman, the power of proven results.
Visit Hartman online, hi-REIT.com. Call 800-880-2212 or click the ad on RagingElephantRadio.com.
Being a good corporate citizen, multi-million-dollar corporations should just be paying their school property taxes to educate the workforce they will want to hire. Learn more at chapter313.org. Tell your state rep and your state senator not to renew Chapter 313 of the Texas Property Tax Code. Find out who your rep and senator is at wrm.capital.texas.gov/home.
Secondly, we're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
I defend my kids. Selfdefensefund.com.
I defend my family.
Selfdefensefund.com.
I defend my country.
Selfdefensefund.com.
I defend my workplace.
Selfdefensefund.com.
I defend my animals.
Selfdefensefund.com.
I defend my sister.
Selfdefensefund.com. No one ever hopes to have to use their weapon in self-defense. But if you do, be protected. Your family, your business, your loved ones are counting on you. Selfdefensefund.com.
Doc says all the best words start with P. Prudence is a good word. Airlines will always say, put your own mask on first, then help your loved ones. Prudence means making sure that your family food supply is secure. Most stores have at best a 72-hour supply of food, and if something goes wrong, resupply will not happen quickly. You should have at least a 90-day supply of your favorites because it will allow you to weather the worst crisis and make plans for the future. The answer is newmanna.com. N-U-M-A-N-N-A. New Manna is not just food storage, but really tasty food that you will enjoy eating. New Manna food is designed to last for 25 years, but many people enjoy it several times a week. Now is the time to lay in a supply of tasty New Manna food for your family. Be prepared and know your family is safe. Go to newmanna.com right now for fast delivery. That's newmanna.com.
What do you do if you've got gas? You call Russell Metzler at 281-798-8006. His company, GasProductServices.com, is your best choice. Whether it's inside or out, GasProductServices.com offers installation and repair of gas grills, gas lights, gas logs, fire bowls, fire pits, torches, and outdoor kitchens. If you're planning a new house, call Russell for design advice on indoor and outdoor gas products. He's a pro who can work with you and your architect. Maybe you're tired of dragging in firewood and cleaning out the ashes. Well, call Russell. He'll install beautiful gas logs. You have a fire pit or a fire bowl or some other gas device that doesn't work anymore? Call Russell at gasproductservices.com. He services the greater Houston metro area from Galveston to Conroe. And he also ships products nationwide. 281-798-8006. 281-798-8006. Gasproductservices.com.
Please return to the Doc Green Show. This is Marvin the Martian. When you miss it, you make me very, very angry.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, yeah, confidence is key. Hope you guys are watching out there. And glad to have you back now. Yeah, I guess PIQ was saying the baseband is way off in the commercials. And I said we're getting a lot of distortion. I tried to fix that. Let me know if I did. Trying to work on all of these things at one time. I want to thank producer Frank, by the way, for all of his help with everything he does out there. And don't forget, he does his own show twice a day, The Frank Report on avrn.tv. The Frank Report on avrn.tv. You should get there and check that out because it's really good. And it's very frank. That works on multiple levels. So now, Asian discrimination. It turns out everybody now hates Asians. Have you noticed that? Now, here's my thought. I don't know anybody that hates Asians. Seriously, I don't know anybody that hates Asians. One thing, I happen to think Asian girls are kind of cute. And, well, here in Houston, if you want to get your hair did or you want to get your nails done, it's going to be an Asian that's doing it because that's just what they do. Everybody's got their niche. If you're an Indian, then you either own a hotel or you own a convenience store. If you're an Asian, it's going to be hair and nails or pho. Pho. Soup. You know, noodle stores. But that's pretty much it. I don't know anybody that hates Asians. I can tell you, I know a large number of Vietnamese people, and I've never met one that I didn't like. I know a lot of islanders, Pacific Islanders. I can't think of one that I do not like. So I don't know where this is coming from. This is just crap, is what it is. That guy out there in Georgia, I've told you this before, he had a sex problem. He liked Oriental girls. He liked Asian girls. And he had a problem. He couldn't keep it in his pants. And so he said, you know, the only way I'm going to be able to fix my problem is to go kill all the prostitutes that I know. Whether or not they're actually prostitutes, we still don't know. But that was it. His problem wasn't that he hated Asians. It's that he loved them too much and couldn't control himself. But this administration has made the decision that the only way that we can win this war is to divide and conquer. So we have to get every subset of human beings mad at every other subset of human beings. We have to have Black Lives, blammers. We got to have the blammers. Got to have the Tifas. Now we got to have the Asian haters. So, I don't know. Senator John Kennedy, a Republican from Louisiana, directed a call to action to correct the Asian American discrimination in Harvard University's admission process. Now, there they do hate Asians. They want as many black people as possible, and Asians, because they get such good grades, are a real problem. So Kennedy challenged Creepy Joe throughout his speech, giving examples of the administration actually allowing Asian American prejudice to continue in the world of college admissions. Challenging Biden's so-called commitment to fighting racial discrimination, which we all know that's total BS. He pointed to the fact that similar instances of bias have been allowed to continue for decades. Just last year, the Justice Department found evidence that Yale University denied admission to Asian American students because they were Asian American students. And because they are so smart, they get amazing grades, and it makes it really hard for the darker skinned people that are admitted not on the basis of their grades, but rather are admitted because of the color of their skin. And then they get in and they find it really hard to compete because they just don't have the academic ability. They never worked hard in school. They didn't have tiger moms. So they found that Yale was denying admission to Asian American students based on race. Now, as far as I'm concerned, they don't know how lucky they are. I would stay the hell away from anything Ivy League. But Kennedy pointed out only a few weeks after Biden set up shop, the Department of Injustice withdrew its own lawsuit on racial discrimination against Yale University. So he also called on Creepy Joe to take his rhetoric and shove it and turn it into real meaningful action by focusing his efforts on supporting a case against Harvard University where the identical thing is happening against Asian American applicants. He said there is still hope for justice for our Asian American students. The Supreme Court may well take up this case. Of course, we know what a bunch of pusillanimous bunch of pucks they are. But the White House could defend this cause of merit against Harvard University's alleged racial discrimination. So let me say this clearly as I can. If the Harris-Biden administration is committed to facing and fighting racial discrimination against Asian Americans, if Sleepy Creepy Joe and his team want to lift up Asian Americans as they say they do, it is not hard to see how countering racist policies in the privileged halls of Harvard, a school that, by the way, gets a lot of federal money, it's not hard to see how supporting that litigation could be part of Creepy Joe's commitment. So today, with all the respect I can muster, I'm calling on Joe Biden and his Injustice Department to support the Asian American students who have brought this case against Harvard. Well, we'd like to see what's going to happen with that. Meanwhile, in other racist news, Muriel Bowser, one of the last two people to see that little rich kid alive, you know, that little rich kid, he was 26 years old, working for the DNC, and he gave a thumb drive to WikiLeaks containing all of Johnny Podesta's evil emails. For this, he found himself in the hospital with a couple of holes in his back, and the doctor that looked at him, the doctor that looked at him said, "These are not life-threatening injuries. I'm going to schedule for surgery at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'll be back." And Muriel Bowser and Donna Brazile, not relatives, mind you, showed up in the little rich kid's room, and the next thing you know, he's dead. That Muriel Bowser, mayor of Washington, D.C. Anyway, she posted a tweet Sunday blaming the Muslim guy that was working for Uber Eats. She blamed him for his own death. She said, auto theft is a crime of opportunity, so you follow these steps to reduce the risk of your vehicle being a target. Remember the motto, #protect your auto. Tip number 2, lock your car. That's all she had to say. But see, Muhammad Anwar's tragic death didn't have anything to do with him locking his car. These two black female teenagers, I believe they were 12 and 13, robbed him, stole his car, and he grabbed the handle and tried to stay with his car, and they drug him off. And then he fell off the car and got hit by a tree, and that killed him. But Muriel Bowser thinks that what these two little black teen girls did was okay. If Mr. Muhammad had properly secured his car, they would never have stolen his car. That's what she says. I am thankful that I do not live in Washington, D.C. I pray to God I never have to go back there again. But, it's 13 and 15-year-old girls. My mistake. Sorry, I didn't mean to misquote that. But the two girls, ages 15 and 13, whose names are being held because they're too young, killed the 66-year-old Pakistani. He had a wife and 3 kids, but he's dead now. Carjackings have skyrocketed in D.C. Apparently, the fence around the Capitol is not solving any crime problems up there. The D.C. police said the girls had actually planned to carjack someone else. It's unclear why they decided to choose Mr. Anwar. And their weapon for this crime was a stun gun. So Anwar picked up the 2 girls, drove them to Nationals Park, where an argument and then a struggle between the girls happened when they tried to steal his car. And police believe that Mr. Anwar left the Honda but was wedged between the door and the driver's seat when the girls put it in gear and drove away. Car moved forward with him trying to hold on. Eventually, they ejected him from the car, and that was it. The girls, of course, wrecked the car not long after. But being black female juveniles, they'll probably get off. A 12-year-old and an accomplice attempted to carjack 4 different drivers in the D.C. area. And the police saying, well, it's not their fault. There's no school. What are they going to do? How are they going to get their stuff? 2 carjackers threatened 4 victims in a car with a gun. The first 3 attempts were unsuccessful, but then they pulled the gun on the 4th victim, and she got out of the car and they drove away in her car. They caught the 12-year-old pretty soon after that. Second suspect has not been apprehended. But the D.C. area has seen crime skyrocket, and the criminals are getting younger by the day. They say that these kids have too much idle time and that people are going through hard times during the pandemic. Yeah, you think? The excuses given by the authorities are laughable. The kids need to have consequences for their time, for their failures, not excuses. So, let me see if I can pull this up for you. Yeah, I think I can get this for you.
Inside this room, all of my dreams become realities, and some of my realities become dreams.
Gene Wilder, yeah. Gotta love Gene Wilder. You really do. He was a really fabulous actor. And let's see if I got this.
Leave today. Normally on them in.
Recounting this experience and some 16-year-old.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, that's not it. That is not it. That's not the one. I don't know. I'll try to find that for you here, but yeah, I wanted the clip, but I guess it's copyrighted. They're not going to let me do it. Rats. Well, anyway, I tried. So anyway, here's what you got to know now. St. Anthony the Great said, the time is coming when men will go mad. And when they see someone who is not mad, they will attack him saying, you are mad. Because you are not like us. Civilization is in a death spiral. It can no longer maintain the moral demands that kept it alive. Neither can it tolerate an ability to see things as they are. Coherent authority shrinks. In Triumph of the Therapeutic, Philip Reif wrote, The dying order demands less, permits more, no longer able to distinguish between spectacle and reality. It substitutes one for the other. Dr. Rachel Levine, a guy who is masquerading as a really ugly woman. And when I say ugly, I don't mean skin deep. No, I mean ugly. I mean clear to the bone ugly. Well, they've confirmed him as the Assistant Secretary of Health and Human Services. You got to wonder what the hell they were thinking. Dr. David Levine used to be married. He used to have a son and his daughter. But a demon entered into him in his 40s because he was hanging out places he shouldn't have been. Even though he's still married, he set out to deny the evidence of his genetic endowment because the demon had entered into him. So the inevitable Y chromosome in his 30 to 40 trillion cells, including some 86 billion neurons, he just mentally decided he was somebody else. Now, if he was simply a private homosexual, an obscure man suffering anonymity, living with the anguish of self-loathing, you might elicit some compassion and concern for this guy. Courtesy might move any one of us to assent to the counterfeit and address him as the woman which he strains to be. But David Levine is not some nameless sufferer seeking release from personal distress, just wanting to live his life. He is instead a public figure, the highest ranking, mentally disturbed, mentally ill man in America, trying to force everyone to acknowledge the fact that he is lying about his sex. Because he has two humps, he thinks he is a camel. But you see, in his position, he's not only going to end his own life in destruction, but he intends to destroy thousands, tens of thousands, nay, hundreds of thousands of lives with him. He advocates that young boys like James here in Texas be given puberty blockers, and then grooming these young boys to believe that they're girls. He supports having dickectomies and addictomies as needed. Sympathy should stop at the gate of toxic narcissism as an influential man empowered to inflict irreversible harm on other people's children. But it does not. I don't have the story here today, but over the weekend I read a story of a guy that was similar to this guy, David Levine, now masquerading under the name of Rachel. And this guy said, when I was mentally ill, and I thought I was trying to become a woman when I was mentally ill, he said, instead of doctors that I trusted explaining to me that my mind was screwed up, instead of helping me get the psychological and indeed perhaps spiritual help that I needed to kick this demonic effect, they aided me in falling further into it. They aided me into denying reality at a greater level. So instead of me getting the help I needed, I lost everything. I lost my job, I lost my wife, I lost my family. And even though I've now quit taking all the female hormones, I have had irreversible surgeries that can never be changed. And now that my mind is more or less correct, I realize I was born a man and I should be a man. But I can't be, because these doctors that I trusted allowed irreversible things to happen to me and indeed encouraged me to pursue these irreversible things. The increasing medicalization of a variety of emotional responses of overly sensitive people to the boundless stresses of lived life is reflected in the ever-enlarging diagnostic statistical manual of mental disorders. It grew from 119 pages in 1969 to 886 pages in the fourth edition. Science began leaching out clinical practice when the word gender was plucked from the rules of grammar and applied to persons, because, see, gender is a word to be used only in the description of language. Is a noun a female or a male noun? Is a verb a male or female gender? Never was sex supposed to be replaced with the word gender. But you see, once you start the big lie, there just seems to be no end to it. But I'd remind you what it says in 2 Thessalonians 2:8. You guys could check the scripture. It's somewhere right in there. But it said, because these men refused to retain a knowledge of the truth, that God chose to send them a strong delusion that they would believe a lie. Why? Because they knew truth, but pretended not to know truth, substituted a lie, a fiction, a fabrication for the truth. They did it willingly. And God said, I will send them, God will send them a strong delusion that they would believe a lie. So the truth they would not believe, but a lie they would believe. Gender reassignment is currently the approved term because in truth, sex change is impossible because you can't erase that Y chromosome. It will not dissolve or somersault into a second X chromosome. Neither can we switch our natal gametes. There are only two, the female ovum and the male sperm cell. There is no choice in the matter. You have an egg and you have seed. By contrast, there is no cap on the number of genders clamoring to be discovered. New York's official tally is 31, but I've heard as high as 80. But the truth is, there are two sexes, male and female, and there are about 78 different types of mental illness. Well, I'm out of time. God bless you guys. Thank you for being part of the show today. Like and share, like and share. God willing, I'll see you here tomorrow. Same doc time, same doc channel.
To the Doc Green Show. This is Marvin the Martian. When you miss it, you make me very, very angry.
The political, religious, and medical views presented on various shows heard on American Voice Radio Network are not necessarily the views held by the management of American Voice Radio and are not presented as an endorsement by this network. All statements heard on American Voice Radio are the sole responsibility and opinion of those who speak the particular statement.